Still tuned into the Power Station with myself, Elsa B. Timignani, on EconoChat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. We are talking about inflation and interest rate and also disruptions in regards to the question, is a worldwide recession coming? That is for 2023. Now, we did go into detail in regards to, Namibia affected in regards to what is happening in Ukraine and Russia, or between Ukraine and Russia. And Mr. Daniel Steinman will answer us that question, giving us more detail. He has his personal opinion, but I'm not sure if he will voice it. But as an economist, I think he will elaborate.
Elizabeth, let's recap. I said in the first session that the dispute over gas prices and gas supply between Russia and the EU has zero effect on energy prices in Namibia. And I said that the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia has a very limited effect on wheat prices.
Yeah.
So the whole point is that the food inflation that we've seen in 2022, and we've seen very significant food inflation in Namibia, where does it come from? Why is it there? Is everybody deluded? Or do they believe nonsense? Or are we looking at the wrong picture? Trying to make up or to figure out what's happening here. And that is the reason why I emphasize the role of crude oil, because that is where our inflation came from. And the reason is very simple. Crude went to about $130 per barrel. From where it was in 2021 and 2020 with COVID, it was at $58 to $60 a barrel. So you can see that crude doubled in price. Now, there are many opinions why that happened, but it's very obvious that in 2020 with COVID, the demand was very little. Everything came to a standstill. The world basically shut down. And if the world shuts down, only the most essential distribution mechanisms stay intact. And we see that in many statistics. Now, after COVID, the fact that supply change from China to Europe and China to the Americas, and even China to Africa, they've all been disrupted during COVID. So you have to expect an effect. And I don't know if many people know this, but there was a very brief period during COVID when crude oil, the price went negative. You couldn't sell it if you want because nobody wanted it, because ships were not sailing, trucks were not running, trains were sitting in stations, so you did not need oil or diesel or petrol, whatever type of fuel it is that you need. That changed. So after COVID, there was, it's often referred to as pent-up demand. To me, that's a bit of a vague notion. I mean, is your pent-up demand the same as my pent-up demand? But let's just call it, there was sort of a restitution in demand, in the sense that when people started moving again, when the restrictions of COVID-19 were lifted, you could see that there's renewed demand for many things. You also see it now in the tourism stats of the last 8 months, So everything has come back to life. And that means that suddenly everybody needed fuel again. So there was a backlog. And what happened, from roughly around $60 per barrel, it went to $130. It slightly more than doubled in price. Now that is the reason why Namibia had inflation. Nothing else. Because everything that we eat, or 95% of what we eat, we put it on the back of a truck and we run it from Mpumalanga or from KwaZulu-Natal or from the Western Cape. Our local production is too small to cater even for 10% of local demand. So a very, very, very big part of what we consume daily comes from South Africa, and it means that it has to be carted for 1,600 or 2,000 kilometers, and that and when the cost of bringing stuff in by truck, when that doubled because the fuel price doubled, then you started seeing it in the food prices. And this is one of the reasons why I say that 2023 we are going to be out of sync with the rest of the world. I do not expect a local recession. I expect the opposite, because inflation will normalize as the price of crude oil comes down.
Okay. And it's actually a shame that we have to still continue to say that most of our food is actually imported into the country. But I guess that's another topic for another day. Let's go for a short break and we'll be back.